everybody, Miss Amanda here for Flower Week. It's been so rainy and gray outside, so I decided to create a creative art activity that you can try at home when you can't go outside. The best part about creative art is there's no right way to do it. You just take the materials you have, you create something beautiful, and the end result makes everybody happy. So the materials that I used mostly came from my recycling bin. You can see I made some examples here, and now I'm going to make one all the way through just to show you how I did it. So for the vases of my flowers, I used some toilet tissue rolls. That's what I had at my house. Normally I'd take these guys actually to Earthplace and put them in the arts and crafts area in the classrooms. Not an option right now, so they're building up in my recycling bin. I'm going to decorate mine with some tissue paper that I had from a leftover gift. It has polka dots, which made me smile. But remember, you can use whatever you want, anything that you have at your house. You can use a jar, a can, anything that you find in your recycling bin. Maybe you have some Play-Doh or clay and you want to make the whole flower stem to flower all the way through with those materials. So to decorate my toilet paper tube, I'm just going to do a little bit of measuring. Make sure that the tissue paper covers it all the way across. Take my trusty dusty scissors and make some cuts. Now, like I said, you want to use materials that you have at home. If you don't have tissue paper, you can use construction paper, you can use ribbon, yarn, anything that you have at your house that you find beautiful. Maybe you have some fabric. Fabric would be great for these flowers. I just happen to have these materials, and so that's what I'm using. Alright, so I've cut this tissue to the right size so that it should roll around my toilet paper roll. I'm going to use a little bit of glue. Now the tissue is so thin that I only need a little bit of glue. Just using some white school glue, but use whatever you have. If you have tape, if you have clear glue, maybe you have Velcro. Gonna add just a little bit more so it adheres all the way around. And that should do it. The wet glue goes right through the tissue and should seal it nicely. Alright, so let's set that aside to dry. And next I'm going to work on the stem of my flower. So for the stem of my flower, I'm going to use a small stick that I pre-cut out of what was a pizza box. So if you are going to use paper or cardboard for this, I would suggest using something that's a little bit thicker, just so that it stands up and holds the actual flower that you put on the top. A regular piece of paper is probably going to collapse. I had some ribbon that happened to be green, and I'm going to use that to wrap around this stem. So again, use the materials that you have. Maybe you have felt or pipe cleaners. Pipe cleaners would be great for the stem of a flower. Maybe you have yarn or string. Use the things that you have in your arts and crafts area. So I'm just slowly wrapping this ribbon around, and I'm just pulling it a little bit so that it goes up the stem instead of just going all the way around the bottom. And when I get to the top, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape to hold it in place. So my tape is just regular plain old Scotch tape, but if you have colorful washi tape, definitely use that. Stickers are a great one to use for this project. It's just about being creative with the items that you have at home. I used a pizza box and a toilet paper roll, but if you have a cardboard egg carton is already in the shape of a flower, and that would be a great example to use. Alright, so my tape has secured my ribbon. I've got a nice green stem here for my flower. The last thing that I'm going to make is I'm going to cut out the top of my flower. So again, here I used something from my recycling bin. It was a snack box. It's about the thickness of a cereal box. So it's thinner than my my pizza box, because that would be really hard to cut. But This is a lot thinner. And I'm gonna make the shape that you see here that kind of looks like a crown. It's almost like a tulip. So I'm just going to cut 3 triangles towards the top of my cardboard here so that it looks a lot like a crown. Really simple cuts. You can pre-draw your design and then cut it out like a trace, or you can freehand. So here's my crown shape, and I'm going to round the bottom so it looks a little bit more like a flower. Super basic, super simple. Work on those cutting skills. If you are having trouble cutting, ask a grown-up for help. Alright, so here's my beautiful tulip. I have markers here at my house, but you use what you have at your house. I'm going to color it purple because I just happen to really like the color purple. If you have crayons, if you have pastels, colored pencils, whatever you have at your home, that's what you're going to use. Some of the flowers here on my right, I covered first with some tissue paper, but you could cover yours with construction paper, and it just adds a little bit of dimension to our flowers. So I'm not going to cover it all the way. They don't have to be perfect. Remember that creative art doesn't have a specific design or a specific outcome that we're looking for. I kind of like that with the white border. And I'm just going to tape it right onto my stem that I already covered with our green ribbon. On some of the other flowers that I pre-made, I added leaves. Any of the leftovers that you have can be used to add different designs. Maybe you want more petals, or you want to add a center, like a sunflower has a center of seeds that are a different color. Alright, so here's my vase. Put my beautiful flower in, and just because it needs a friend, one that I made the other day, and I added 2 flowers to the top of the same stem. Alright everybody, here's our creative art project for making flowers. I hope you have fun on a rainy day with this one, and enjoy. Bye!